Hey everybody, Pam with Normalized Cloth, and today I'm going to give you like a 101 introduction to modern cloth diapers. Now I apologize in advance if you hear chaos in the background because there is no such thing as quiet in a house this little with this many kids. I have 6 kids, by the way. So when I first switched to cloth diapers, or at least when I was first looking into it, I was entirely overwhelmed. There are far more resources today than there were back when I first tried to switch, but I looked into it, was so overwhelmed by all the terminology and all of the styles and everything. And there were just so many acronyms. I kind of went into like a shutdown mode, and for 3 months I just was like, forget it, I can't do this, it's just too much. Really just curiosity tugged me, and I got back into looking into it. I spent over 100 hours researching before I made my first purchase. Nothing quite prepares you for cloth diapering short of the experience of actually cloth diapering. But you can do your research to see what do you think might be best for you to start, as far as getting started, what you should try first kind of thing, because I really do believe you should sample different styles and brands to find what ones do or don't work for you. Better refuel. So what is a modern cloth diaper? Well, modern cloth diapers generally look like this. There are wool. I forgot to grab my wool. Look, you don't even know. I've got like billions of diapers surrounding me right now, and I grabbed everything but a wool cover. So listen, a modern cloth diaper, typically what you're going to find are diapers made out of something called POL, or polyurethane laminate. Laminate. Sometimes it's called TPU, which stands for thermoplastic polyurethane. It's just a different kind of laminate. So with conventional POL, it's laminated with chemical solvents, and with TPU, it's laminated using a thermal or heat process. Still POL. It's just a laminated fabric. That's what makes the fabric of modern cloth diapers waterproof. I mean, you can listen. They're not like plastic. They are soft, they're cozy, they are nothing like rubber pants. And so they have this bit of a shine on the inside of like covers and such where you can see the exposed POL, because that's the laminate. So when I first switched, I was overwhelmed because I saw a billion snaps and was like, okay, it doesn't have to be that scary. So in like a diaper like this, for instance, this top row of 2 snaps, they're the waist snaps. They're what these snap into. They go into that top row. So then what you have left are these snaps here. And I was like, what the freaking heck are all these snaps for? Well, these are what makes a lot of modern cloth diapers one size. That is, they fit a wider range of babies in terms of weight and size because they can adjust. So this diaper, what you would do is you would take the top snap and you would snap it into the bottom one for this, what's called the smallest rise setting. The rise simply means the length from the front to the back of the diaper. That way it can fit smaller babies. And sometimes you'll see snaps like female snaps here that are called overlapping tab snaps, so that the tabs can overlap. Look how itty bitty it is. And then as your baby grows, you can change the snap settings until you get a nice big size. Look how much bigger this diaper looks. So try not to be overwhelmed by all the snaps. Sometimes it's easier to understand when you see something like a Velcro diaper, because this also has the rise snaps, and my baby currently is on the middle rise setting, so it's snapped into the second set of snaps. And the Velcro kind of makes it clear, like, these snaps are just for rise, and obviously the top is Velcroed. And that's another thing. You can have diapers that snap shut, and you can have diapers that Velcro shut or use hook and loop. Velcro is just a name brand of hook and loop. But most modern cloth diapers have some sort of waterproofing exterior. It's usually polyurethane laminate. That's why you see POL or TPU floating around. They have rise snaps to adjust the length, but not all brands use the rise snaps. Some brands like Esembly actually do not have rise snaps on their diapers, and they use a sized system. So they have 2 different sized diapers. And the reason they do this is because they've surveyed parents and found that a lot of parents are not interested in rise snaps. Now, I find this funny because honestly, everyone I talk to says they prefer the rise snaps. And I personally do, because I like being able to get a custom fit. And if you look at my Esembly review, whenever I get that posted, you'll see that the reason I have issues with not having rise snaps is because it can make it so that the fit is less than ideal. And honestly, rise snaps on here would have resolved a couple of the issues that I had with this diaper. But they aren't necessary. But if you don't utilize them, you will have to get multiple sizes. And so a lot of people like the rise snaps because you can get the same diaper to fit your baby potentially from birth to potty training. And if not from birth to potty training, at least from birth till they're a toddler, or at least from like say maybe 3 or 4 months up until potty training. So try not to let rise snaps scare you. They're there just to adjust the overall front to back length of the diaper. Now, snaps versus hook and loop. Some people might wonder, why would you want snaps when hook and loop goes on the most like a disposable diaper and seems like it's the easiest? Well, some people don't like the maintenance required for hook and loop because after a little while they can get some fuzzies in them and stuff. Honestly, it hasn't really been a huge issue for me at all. But the other issue is that just like with disposables, some babies learn to take them off. And I'm not saying they can't take off the snap diapers, but they're a lot less likely to. And the snaps can sometimes give a greater, stronger hold. It really just depends on the quality of the Velcro or hook and loop, I mean. So for the most part, many modern cloth diapers look basically the same. Now, when it comes to what's going on inside the diaper is going to depend on which style you get. And there are 3 primary styles of cloth diapers: all-in-ones, covers, and pocket style. So let's start with the easiest to understand, which are all-in-ones. All-in-ones are exactly as they sound. You'll see it abbreviated AIO. It just means the diaper is all-encompassing. There is a waterproof exterior, an absorbent inside. You put this on your baby, you take it off your baby, you wash it, you dry it, you repeat the process. So this seems like the ideal diaper, right? Like it's very easy to understand. It just goes on and it comes off. Well, there are pros and cons to all-in-ones. The pros, of course, are the obvious. There's really nothing hard to figure out. It goes on your baby. Once you figure out how to get it on your baby, you put it on, you take it off, you wash it, you dry it, you repeat. Right? And oftentimes all-in-ones can be the trimmest option. Now this is a very bulky all-in-one, and this is actually one of my favorites. But like, look at this all-in-one, for instance. That's like a disposable. So all-in-ones can be one of your trimmest diapering options. Now, of course, all-in-ones can also be very convenient for on the go or in the middle of the night when you are half asleep because your baby is a newborn and waking you up a billion times, and you are so tired and you don't want to sit there and have to figure out things. You want to just be able to put a diaper on your baby. All-in-ones are good for that. They can also be daycare friendly or caregiver friendly or, you know, reluctant partner friendly because they're pretty straightforward to use. Of course, one concern a lot of people have when it comes to cloth diapers are, do I need to mess with pins or anything? And of course, no. With all-in-ones you don't, because everything is already there. Everything you need to put the diaper on and take the diaper off is there, all in the diaper, all in one. And of course, one other perk is that when you do laundry, if you're absolutely exhausted and don't feel like having to fold diapers, just grab one of these out of the laundry basket and put it on your baby. Now there are exceptions, because some all-in-ones like this diaper right utilize inserts that can snap in and snap out, and it's not that you have to unsnap them, but you have the option to, because you can customize the absorbency of them that way. You can take them off if it makes it wash and dry faster for you. So then these, of course, sometimes even if you leave them snapped, they'll unsnap themselves in the wash and you have to match the inserts to the all-in-one. But in spite of the pros, there are a lot of people who choose not to use all-in-ones, and I'm one that typically deviates away from all-in-ones, but why? So here are some of the cons of all-in-ones. First of all, they're usually the most expensive option. Any of these pros and cons for any of these styles of diapers are not true of every single diaper of that style. Like for instance, this all-in-one from Diapering is, well, last I checked it was like what, $17 or $18? Of some of the more name brand diapers like Thirsties, where their all-in-ones are like $25 or $26 now for one diaper. So they are pretty expensive. You can find cheaper all-in-ones, but you need to be careful about using cheaper all-in-ones, because reason number 2 that people struggle with all-in-ones or prefer not to use them is that they just might not be absorbent enough. So like this diaper, when I first switched to cloth diapers, I was like, why can't somebody just give me a diaper that is just, everything is there, all that I need, put it on, take it off, no confusing flaps or anything. To me, this would have been a dream come true. But it turns out this diaper is actually one of my least successful diapers I own. Why? Because there's only 6 layers of fabric in here. Now granted, the material used in here is actually decent, but 6 layers is just not enough for most babies. At least most of my babies, who tend to be on the heavier wetting side. For a moderate to light wetting child, this would be okay. And so for daytime use, I can use this on Juniper, my youngest, because she is my lightest wetting child I have. But all my other babies are flutters. They wet heavy. They just, when we say flutter, what we mean by that is that they pee a lot all at once. And so they flood the diaper. And this just does not hold up to heavy wetters. So a lot of people think, oh, this is trim and this is this is especially this one. Oh, this is going to be a quality diaper because of the price, and it's trim, and it's going to be perfect, and I don't have to figure out things. But then they use it and they say, why am I constantly getting leaks? Well, it's probably not absorbent enough. And that's an issue I personally have with a lot of all-in-ones on the market. Another issue that can occur with all-in-ones is that they can be tricky to wash or dry. So like, for instance, with this one in particular, any all-in-one with a bunch of sewn-in stuff right up against the POL like that, and no way to kind of come free from it, they can be hard to make sure the water thoroughly gets down in there and through, because remember, this is moisture resistant. This is going to stop the water from free flowing through as vigorously and as easily as it would with, you know, any other kind of fabric that doesn't have that. You can end up with some odor issues if they're not properly washed. And then on top of that, and especially with something like this with the POL against the fabric that close, they may not dry as quickly either. You know, these pre-folds are going to dry quicker than this, even though this has more layers in the middle than this has. So they can be a little tricky to wash and dry, and actually very frustrating. And because of the care needed for these diapers, sometimes that makes them actually harder to use than the other styles of diapers. Another con is that they can be a nuisance to clean stools off of. When you have something like this and your baby poops and you have flaps and nooks and crannies, you know, this can be a pain for somebody to try to get all the poop off of, because if these flaps are, like, say this one particularly, if the poop gets here, it can get in there and it can get in there, and then you're like trying to get it all off, and it can be frustrating to get the poop off. And lastly, one of the biggest cons, and this is mostly my personal experience I've noticed, I don't know if anybody else has this experience, and if this has been true for you too, throw it down in the comments and let me know, because I'm curious. All-in-ones in general just wear out faster than any other style I've used. I'm not sure why. I speculate maybe it's because when they're washed, it's a lot of tugging and pulling, and because everything is attached, and it's, I don't know, but in my experience, all-in-ones have worn out the fastest, and that can be really discouraging, because it's like, if you buy diapers and you want them to last several babies and they're wearing out before your first baby's even potty trained, and they're this expensive, if you can afford it and you love it and you want to do that and that works for you, that's great, do it. But if you're trying to do this on a budget, some all-in-ones might be good for on the go or middle of the night, but you might want to opt for a different style. More fuel. Now, what are some of my favorite brands of all-in-ones? Listen, this is just, I'm giving you my favorites just because I can. You know, you might find that you don't like any single one of these, and you might find you love them all. I don't know, but these are my favorite. I really like the Thirsties. Thirsties, they're USA made, they're expensive, but you get what you pay for. They're natural fiber. The way they're designed, they have these two flaps, they're sewn in so you don't have to match an insert to it. It is truly all in one. They're absorbent enough for most of my babies, especially for daytime. Even for my heavier wetters, they're usually enough. They're very convenient for on the go. When I was line drying, I actually dried them like this successfully without any issue of the elastic being worn out or pulled on prematurely, because the weight of the pull on the diapers are in the tongues. So when I line dried, I was actually able to clip them like this onto the line and get them to dry. And they dried well on the line. And that's important when that's your only option for drying. And in the dryer, they dry just as well too. So I really like the Thirsties all-in-one. I also really like the Panolino Bambino Easy all-in-one. The flap configuration, I actually like this more than I thought I would. So again, you don't have to match inserts or anything. It's all in one. It washes really well. If I remember correctly, I think this holds up to 12 ounces. This utilizes a bamboo terry material, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a bit. It's really absorbent. It's great for daytime and nap time. I can use it on the go. I can use it at home. The fit is impeccable. And for its absorbency, probably one of my favorites as far as it's both trim and very absorbent. So Panolino Bambino. I've also recently tried the new Bambino Mio all-in-one. I like that it's hook and loop, which is excellent for caregivers. I love to send this diaper to like church or give it to my husband to use because it's not confusing. Everything's inside. However, they use natural fiber. This is a very absorbent diaper. Now, the trade-off is this diaper is bulky. I think this diaper is a little bit big for young babies. I probably wouldn't start using this on my beastly kids until they're about 3 or 4 months old, but they kind of resemble a pocket style diaper. Again, I'll get to that. Because these tabs tuck in, but then that means you don't have annoying flaps or anything. The only thing is that you do have to unstop it. So this is kind of like a breed between a pocket in an all-in-one, because it has a pocket that you stuff the inserts into, but the inserts are sewn so they're not separated. So you could dig this out of a laundry basket, and if you wanted to have your baby learn to use the potty and start feeling wetness, you also can just lay this flap right on top. You don't have to stuff it in, and that way they'll feel the wetness. Some people want their babies to not have a stay dry layer because their babies are older and they want them to start feeling wet and feeling uncomfortable, because then that kind of, it helps them get in tune with their bodies and what their bodies are doing and prepares them for learning to use the toilet. So I really like this new Bambino Mio all-in-one. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. Now, if you have a heavy wetter or a flutter, I cannot recommend the Diaper Right all-in-one enough, because even though the inserts snap in, that's actually a good thing. See, I'm not a huge fan of snapping in inserts. In fact, it drives me nuts. But most of the time, if I leave them snapped, they stay on. Occasionally they come off, but most of the time they stay on, and they wash just fine if you leave them attached. But because they snap in on either side, and you get one bigger one and one smaller insert, you can choose to use just one small insert inside, and you have a pretty trim but very absorbent option for a littler baby. And I've used these on babies as young as like several weeks old with success. When they get older, you can decide you want to use the larger insert for more absorbency, but it's still the same level of trim, so still very trim and very absorbent. But if you want to use these for overnights, for an easy overnight option, you can leave both inserts inside, and yes, it's bulkier, but you get like, I don't remember if it was like 18 ounces of absorbency or something. So I really like these for overnights. I like these for long road trips because they reliably hold up to them. In fact, I'm about to go on a road trip, and this is the diaper I'll be using while we're in the car, because I know that this will hold up to the long trip without having to worry about her leaking through. So I highly recommend Diaper Right if you're worried about making sure you have enough absorbency, because you have the option to customize. Understand, this diaper comes with both those inserts, so you can completely customize how absorbent or not absorbent this diaper is, and this is the only diaper I find I never have to boost. Highly recommend it. If I had to say pick one all-in-one to try, definitely the Diaper Right. Now, I showed you this one. This one here is an Elemental Joy all-in-one. You might like this because it is easy on and off and everything's just right there, but understand it can be a little tricky to wash and it can take longer to dry. And if you're line drying, I do not recommend this at all, because it will take a long time to line dry, and so long that it can take on funky odors. It's that bad. It is absorbent enough for daytime for moderate to light wetters, but oftentimes I have to add absorbency to it, and it's my opinion that if you have to boost an all-in-one to use it even during the daytime, what's the point in an all-in-one? So those are some of my favorite all-in-ones. I'm going to throw links to all of these diapers in the description box below, at least do my best to, because I have a lot I'm showing you. So the next style of diaper is probably the most intimidating style, and that is what I showed you at the beginning. This is a cover. Now you notice there's like nothing in it except maybe a couple flaps. That's because this is just a cover. This goes over the diaper, the cloth diaper. And what you put in here is entirely up to you. Covers need something inside to be absorbent, because if you just put this on your baby, besides the fact that the POL might be a little uncomfortable against their skin, there's nothing absorbent there. So here are some of your options when you're using a cover of what you can use with the cover. You may have heard of flats before. Flats are just one large piece of fabric, okay? A lot of us in the cloth diaper community love these because you don't have to do anything special to use them except fold them into a rectangle and lay them inside. When your grandmother used flats or your great-grandmother used flats, oftentimes she had to employ pins. That's not necessary for modern cloth diapering. And what's nice about these is that flats are not only very absorbent, they're also very trim. That's a pretty trim option for a cloth diaper. Because they open up completely, they wash reliably well. I mean, if you're struggling with wash routine issues, I highly recommend flats because they wash out easily. And of course, that being said, they also line dry and dryer dry really quickly. So flats are probably, in my opinion, even though a lot of people look at these and they get terrified, these are actually probably one of the most user-friendly options for cloth diapering because they launder so well. And so using them doesn't have to be any more complicated than folding them into a rectangle. Now, if you're not into all of that folding, you might consider a pre-fold. A pre-fold is kind of like pre-folded into a diaper shape, I guess. Oftentimes they're like 4x8x4 layers. You can also just pad fold and lay in a cover, or can be put on your baby too. Now, if you do that, or if you do something like that with flats, because there are numerous ways to fold flats, and I'm not going to show you in this video because I'd be here all day trying to show you all the ways you can fold flats. There are numerous ways to do it. But if you decide to do that, Some people prefer that because they want to keep poop off the covers as best as possible. And the best way to do that is not to pad fold this, but to actually fold it around your baby to conceal things better. And if you decide to do that, you do not have to use pins. So like, you can use pins, but pins are not necessary. We actually have pin replacements now. One thing I've used probably the most and more than anything are something called snappies. These are really neat because they have little teeth on the other side that grip the fabric. See if I can get it to focus on that for you. They have these little teeth that grip the fabric and hold everything together. They just kind of grab the fabric, see? And you don't have to worry about this poking your baby's skin. It won't get your baby. They make something called boingos too that are similar, and I have a pair, but I don't know where I put them, which is kind of like a snappy, but 2 pieces instead of 1 big piece. So this would hold the sides in, and then this would keep the bottom from drooping down and out and holds the whole diaper together. I have a baby here trying to get my pins. He's the baby. And then one of my favorite things to use to hold diapers in, but I don't know where you can find them now, and I don't know if anyone still sells them, are these bandy bands. At least I think that's what they're called. But they're just Velcro elastic pieces that you can use around the diaper, almost like a belt to kind of hold everything in place. Pre-flats, I don't know why they're called pre-flats, to be honest. I thought they would be called pre-fitteds because they're kind of like a mix between a pre-fold and a fitted. So they look like this. This folds in. You fold this up on your baby, and then here are the tabs that come around the waist. This is sloppy because I'm trying to do this with one tired baby in my hand. One second. This particular one is from Happy Behinds. It's considered a one size, but it's kind of big. But I actually really like these because they're really absorbent. They're really soft. I usually have to fold some excess down in the front for the Juju bean before I put this on her. And then what I do is I tuck these over and I hold them tight while I then put a cover over top. And I use a fitted cover, kind of like the slim fit that holds everything really well in place. And I'll hold this down while I snap the tabs on. And it holds it. I have the most success doing that method with pre-flats than any other style. But pre-flats are great, and another perk to these is that they wash really well. Now another option are fitted diapers. Sometimes they have waist snaps and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they have rise snaps and sometimes they don't. It depends. This particular one is a Thirsties. It is very absorbent. I'm still not a fan of fitteds in general because they can be a little tricky to wash, because they're so thick they can be a little tricky to wash. But a lot of people love fitteds because they are very user-friendly. You put them on, you take them off, they've got the elastic inside, and if you're trying to use a fewer number of covers and make them last longer between changes, because the whole point of a cover, I forgot to mention, this is kind of important. The point of using a cover rather than an all-in-one diaper is that you can use this cover multiple times between uses. So I could put this diaper on Juju with this cover over top. When she soils the diaper, take this one out, put a flat in here, put this on her. Thank you. Put this flat in here. She pees it up, take the flat out, put a pre-fold in here, and basically until this cover gets really wet or soiled with stools, I can keep reusing this several times between washes. The problem a lot of people face, and especially if you do something like just fold something into a rectangle and lay it in, is that the diaper cover can get wet, or especially with younger babies who poop frequently, it can get poop on it. So a lot of people really like fitteds because they do an especially good job keeping the poop and excess pee off the covers and makes the covers more reusable. The trade-off is that these can be really expensive too. Another thing you can put in covers are inserts. Now some covers, like this slim fit cover, have a snap place inside. Not all do. I'm gonna lay you down, sweetie. Now you can take some kind of an insert. Some of them have snaps in them. Like this one has a snap on it. That can snap into the shell. And these are called an all-in-two system. AI2 is the acronym. They're called all-in-twos. I don't know why they're called all-in-twos. I guess because everything you need is in 2 parts instead of 1. So you have the insert that snaps in and you have the shell. And the perk of doing that is that you can just trade out the insert and use the shell repeatedly. But all-in-two is a cover with snaps inside. And you can use an all-in-two cover as a regular cover. What are some of the pros of using a cover? Because they seem kind of convoluted and confusing and kind of overwhelming. Well, covers can be used repeatedly. So, a good diaper stash would be about 24 to 36 diapers per child. That's a very, very comfortable stash without going overboard and without finding yourself a little bit too short. You know, some people might find they need more than that. Some people might find they don't need that many. It depends on a lot of factors, including the age of your baby, how you're laundering and drying diapers, you know, how often you're able to wash diapers, all kinds of things. But covers can be used repeatedly, which means while you might need 24 fitteds or 24 flats, or however you want to configure the absorbency inside, you only need maybe 8 covers. So you don't need as many covers as you do the diapers inside. You only need a full stash of diapers, and then you only need about 8 to 12 covers. So one perk is that you can use the covers over and over again, and because of that, this tends to be a more economic option, because while things like fitteds can be really expensive, flats can be really cheap. And honestly, you can even put old t-shirts in here. I've done that before, and I've used flannel receiving blankets too. In fact, my first stash of diapers were with flannel receiving blankets as the inside. So like an old t-shirt can go in here too. Basically anything absorbent can go in. And so that being said, the other pro is that they are an affordable option, because they can be as cheap or as expensive as you want them to be. There are a lot of cheap covers on the market that work just fine, and there are some more expensive ones that work too. It's whatever you like and whatever you want to use and whatever your budget allows. And of course, you have a variety of diaper choices. You could use inserts, fitteds, old t-shirts, flats, pre-flats, pre-folds, an old kitchen towel. If you use something like a shirt, just make sure it's 100% cotton, or, you know, some mix that's not mostly polyester or something, because polyester is not absorbent. You want to use something that's predominantly cotton. So you can make it as affordable as you need it to be. Of course, another pro is that you could use pins, but you don't need to, because modern covers make it so that you don't have to use pins or pin replacements even, because even something as simple as flats can be just folded into a rectangle and laid inside the cover. And of course, that being said, it also means you get customizable absorbency. So if you find that this flat's just not cutting it, you may decide this pre-flat works better, or that you need the absorbency of a fitted, or that you want to use a really large t-shirt. You can make the diaper as trim or as bulky, as absorbent or not absorbent as you need. And of course, when it comes to laundry day, you wash a whole bunch of diapers and you have these laying around. You know, folding can be optional, especially depending on what kind you use. I actually prefer covers and pre-folds for those really early days, because, you know, it took me a whole maybe day to master using a pre-fold by pinning it on. And the laundry was stupid easy, because I didn't even have to fold it. I could just grab a cover and a pre-fold out. I really like these for younger babies, because I don't always feel like folding laundry, and I can just grab these right out of the laundry basket and use them. And of course, when I do want to fold them, I just fold these in half and stack them, fold these in half and stack them, and that's about as folded as they need to be if I really want to fold them. But a lot of times that wasn't even really necessary, so I could just grab them out of the laundry baskets. Or you can fold them and make them nice and pretty. A lot of times what I do anymore, because I like to have covers ready, is if I use, say, like flats for instance, I'll fold the flat into, because I just fold it into a rectangle now. I don't configure it onto my baby anymore. When I did, I liked the mini kite fold. Look that up if you want to know what that is. I might have a tutorial on that somewhere. But I would just pre-stuff them into the cover and stack them like that. But that's about the bulk of my preparedness. Now, cons of using covers. There's a learning curve, and especially when you're trying to figure out how to get the flats on and try to leave this in here and get this onto a baby. If you have a crocodile for a child like I do, getting this onto a child that wants to just do nothing but roll away can be really tricky. So there is a learning curve with these. It's not as hard as you think it is. In fact, I would even go as far as to say it's probably just as easy as you think as it is intimidating. But it's still a learning curve. It's something that takes a little time to get used to, some time to figure out, and that can just be overwhelming, and it can be a lot. And for new parents where everything's already new and overwhelming, that might just be like, ah! And because of that learning curve, another con to using covers is that they're often rejected by daycares. They're often rejected by caregivers. They're often rejected by reluctant partners who aren't sure if cloth diapering is something they even want to do. And then you're like, here, and they're just like, you know, this can scare the crap out of anybody. And because you have to kind of put it together in some degree of another, it is not the most convenient for middle of the night or on-the-go changes. As much as I loved pre-folds and covers for the early days of cloth diapering, like the newborn into the first few months, middle of the night, trying to pin a pre-fold on, that wasn't happening. So a lot of times in the middle of the night, I utilized some kind of an all-in-one if I could, because I was not about to try to turn on the light, wake everybody up, wake myself up, try to get a diaper on the baby. Like that just, these are not the best on-the-go or middle of the night change options. You can use them middle of the night, you can use them on the go, but they're not the easiest. This is why I like having a diverse stash. And then of course another con is that, and especially depending on how you use these, cleaning poop off of these can be a little bit of a nuisance. Especially if you folded the flat one and you have tons of like, it just wants to fall apart and you've got poop in various random spots because of how it was folded and poop all in these layers and such. It can be a little annoying. Although keep in mind, when it comes to stools, the only stools that need to be rinsed off are any baby poop that's like peanut butter kind of pasty quality and thicker. So a lot of young babies who have meconium, who have that breastfed stool or the early days of formula feeding, sometimes they have really thick stools and sometimes they still have very, very runny stools. Those runny stools break down completely in the wash. So it might get all over the place inside here. You can just toss it right into the diaper pail. So looser stools, your machine's capable of taking care of them, so that won't be an issue. But as your baby gets older, or depending on how you feed your baby or what they eat and everything, their stools get thicker and they can get into all of the nooks and crannies. It can be a little bit of a pain to clean out. So what are some of my favorite brand covers? Well, I really like the Diaper Right cover. It does run a touch small, I think, so oftentimes I can get these to fit, sometimes birth, sometimes a little after, up until about 18 months before it starts to feel a little too snug for comfort, but my kids also tend to be huge, just saying. But I really like the Diaper Right covers. I usually get a really good fit with these. I absolutely adore the Panolino Bambino. This is the new tag, by the way. The Panolino Bambino Slim Fit covers. I absolutely adore these. They only have one gusset, which means, by the way, you'll hear double gusset and single gusset. A double gusset means that there are two leg elastics. A lot of times this inner leg elastic is hugging and this outer one is not touching anything. That's normal and that's okay. But double gussets means it has two leg elastics and single gusset means it only has one. And I normally prefer the double, but this single works really well and fits really well. It's very trim and yet it's big enough to fit pretty much any diaper you put inside. I can get this to fit on Holtwood. Holtwood's like 38 pounds now and taller than my countertops. And I can get this to fit him. And I could get this to fit Juju. And this gets really small. This cover is absolutely amazing. It not only fits everything though, it holds everything in place. So if you have a pad folded flat or something in here and it gets wet, sometimes what'll happen is sort of like how disposables will droop in the crotch area. They can do the same thing. As the inside absorbency gets wet and weighs down, it'll slide down the inside of the diaper and kind of bunch up here. This doesn't do that. It holds everything in place really well without all that drooping and such, because it is like a perfect fit. So I absolutely love this. This is my all-time favorite cover easily. Now another cover I like, but I have a love-hate relationship with, is Esembly. Now Essembly's nice. They come in the two different sizes, so you don't have rise snaps if those scare the crap out of you. But one thing I especially appreciate about their covers is that the inside is lined with the same kind of material as the outside. So it's like a double layer and it's so silky soft. The only thing I don't like about the Esembly line is that I feel like they're missing a size between their 1 and 2. I feel like their 2 is just a little bit too big, that there has to be an in-between size. Now I also like the Thirsties Duo Wraps. Heads up, I pretty much like all of Panolino Bambino's and Thirsties products and Diaper Right's products. All of their products are great, like all of them. But I really like the Thirsties Duo Wrap. Now the Duo Wraps are sized kind of like Esembly is, but the difference is that they employ rise snaps. And what I appreciate about that is that you can get a super custom fit. So I can get the size 1 duos to fit from birth until about 4 to 6 months, and then I can get this to fit until potty training, the size 2. So I really like the Thirsties Duo Wraps as well. Wouldn't it be nice if there was like the customization of a cover with the convenience of an all-in-one? Well, this is where pocket diapers come into play. Pocket diapers are called pocket diapers because that's exactly what they are. Pocket diapers. They have pockets. They are basically a cover with a lining inside, and there's a gap in between the lining and the P-well layer. And in there, you would stuff the absorbent diaper. Pretty much anything you use in a cover, you can use in a pocket diaper. So pocket diapers, a lot of them typically come with inserts. Some do not come with inserts. I actually prefer them not coming with inserts because I have my own things I like to stuff inside. But you can use an insert, you can use a pad folded flat, you can use an old t-shirt, you can use a terry towel, you can use a flannel receiving blanket, you can use washcloths, whatever is absorbent enough for your baby, you can stuff into the pocket, and then you don't have any confusing flaps or anything. This goes on your baby, it comes off, then you would unstuff it and wash it. A lot of people really like pocket diapers. Why? Well, here are some of the pros of pocket diapers. First of all, they tend to wash well and dry quickly because this is just a shell. This is no different than a cover with an extra lining, and the lining can be absorbent, but most of the time it isn't. It's some kind of a stay dry layer, and even if it is a single layer of absorbency, it's only a single layer, so it dries really quick. And then you get the customizable absorbency. You can put however much or little you want in here of whatever kind of fabric or whatever kind of absorbency you want. So you can meet your baby's needs, so you don't have to worry about getting it all in one and then having leaks because it's not working well enough. If you're having issues with your pocket diaper, you can say, oh, well, I need more absorbency, and then just put something else in there. It's also convenient for on the go and middle of the night because once it's put together, if you store it already assembled, which most people do, you just grab it and use it. So I use these in my diaper bag a lot, and I use these in the middle of the night because I don't have to hold things in place or configure things. It just goes on and comes off. Because it's easy on and off and there's no crazy configuring or anything, a lot of daycares like these, and so do caregivers, and so do reluctant parents. Because, and especially if you get one that has hook and loop or Velcro for enclosure, I'm holding it upside down, it makes it really easy for them because they don't have to sit there and figure things out. It just goes on and comes off just like a disposable. And of course, you don't need pins or any kind of pin replacement because everything is right there, and just like an all-in-one just snaps shut. Same with the pocket style diaper. You stuff it and you snap it shut. And probably one of my favorite features about pocket diapers is that they are incredibly easy to clean stool off of. So you can unstuff it if you want, and then you only have that single layer to get poop off of. There's no hidden flaps or anything like that. You can just hose it off or scrape it off, or some people dunk and swish. So like what I do when I do that, because sometimes I'm in a hurry and it's a really quick way of doing it, is I fold it inside out and hold it like that, and it gets the bulk off, and whatever didn't come off in that is capable of coming off in the wash. So then I just drop that in the diaper pail. But this is the easiest, especially when I'm using my diaper sprayer, to get the poop off of. The reason I love pocket diapers personally is because the customizable absorbency and the easy cleaning and the easy on and off. Now there are a couple things I didn't touch on when I was talking about absorbent inside, and that's microfiber is one of them. I don't have my microfiber insert with me, but a lot of these pocket style diapers come with microfiber inserts as almost like a industry standard, and I hate that because a lot of microfiber inserts leak. They're not absorbent enough a lot of times, and even if they are, they're prone to what's called compression leaks. So microfiber acts like a sponge. So think of a kitchen sponge. Imagine if you saturated a kitchen sponge, stuffed it in here, and then you sat on it. What do you think's going to happen? It's going to leak out. A lot of people who have leaks, a lot of times they're using microfiber, and that's why I hate that it's an industry standard. And plus, if you're trying to save the environment, microfiber sheds microplastics. So it's like, why? No, I like to get them without the inserts and add my own absorbency. And some other things that I like to add inside, I really like Green Mountain diapers, like muslin double weave flats. This is actually a half flat with a stain. Stains aren't dirt, by the way. I made a video about that. These are really absorbent, but one of my all-time favorite things to employ with the use of pocket diapers are stretchy flats. These are flats that are made out of bamboo terry. Terry, think terry towels, like kitchen towels. They have the little loops of fabric on them. Terry is basically the same way. It's got all those tiny little, I don't know, you probably can't even see it. It's got a bunch of little loops of fabric. They're very absorbent, and they're not only super absorbent, they're fast absorbing. So if you have a baby that pees a lot all at once, it's able to sop it up without it leaking out of the diaper. You don't have to prep them. So listen, some fabric you get has natural oils in it, and you have to wash it numerous times before it reaches its full absorbency potential because it's got natural oils in it you have to wash out. You don't have to do that with stretchy flats. So I really like stretchy bamboo flats. They're my favorite to stuff inside pocket diapers because they are super absorbent. They don't shrink eternally like some bamboo material does. And all of this washes and dries reliably well. So this is my favorite method of cloth diapering. It's easiest to wash, it's easiest to dry, it's easiest to make work for my child, but it does have its cons. One big con being that a lot of them come with inserts that are just not absorbent enough, especially the cheaper brands and especially the ones that implement the use of microfiber inserts. It might not just be absorbent enough for you. But it's not a deal breaker because you can put whatever you want in these to make these work. But understand that a lot of them, if they come with inserts, those inserts might not be enough. So if you're having leaks with pocket diapers, that might be why. They're also not the cheapest option. When you think about a stash, you need about 24 to 36 diapers. With all-in-ones, you need 24 to 36 all-in-ones. With covers, you need 24 to 36 diapers, whatever you're putting inside, but then you only need 8 to 12 covers. But with pocket diapers, these are a one-time use, wash and repeat kind of diaper, which means you need 24 diapers inside and the 24 shells. Now again, usually they come with some kind of an insert, but if the insert's not enough, or if you buy it without the insert, you also have to get something to put in the diaper. Now that can be as cheap as you want it to be. I got free flannel receiving blankets for my initial stash, and I stuffed them in pocket diapers, and I got pocket diapers from Alva direct from the website with no inserts. And that was, for me, the cheapest way to do it. And I was able to begin cloth diapering for just $50. But that means that they aren't technically the cheapest option because you do need a pocket diaper per change. You don't reuse this pocket shell. Now, I know some people who lay stuff, who will lay like absorbency inside the pocket shell and then reuse the pocket shell. I've never personally done that because every time I do that, this inside lining gets wet anyways, and I don't feel comfortable putting that back on my baby. So some people do use pockets like covers. I personally don't. If it works for you, great, and if it doesn't, don't. Also, I want to mention before I forget, some pocket diapers like this Baby Boo has a snap-in inside where you can snap an insert and then stuff it in, or snap an insert and lay it on. And if you snap an insert and lay it on, she calls this an all-in-two system, and she says it's called the Choice All-in-two because you can use it like an all-in-two or a pocket diaper. Because this is lined with athletic wicking jersey, with something like this, you might have more success with doubling this as an all-in-two system or using it as a cover. I still personally wouldn't do it, but you might have more success with a brand like this that utilizes athletic wicking jersey as an inner lining. Now, athletic wicking jersey, just FYI, people use the acronym AWJ for that. So if you're like, what the heck does that mean? That's what they're referring to, is that the lining is athletic wicking jersey. So, you know, think athletic shorts kind of thing. Sorry, there's stains on this. But athletic shorts, you know, that kind of material. Now, the biggest drawback about pocket shells, the number one reason why a lot of people opt not to use them, is because you do have to stuff and unstuff them every time you use them and wash them. That means you have to fold your absorbency if you have absorbency to fold, or if you're using inserts, you know, you don't have to fold. And then you have to stuff it into each diaper, which means laundry takes a bit of time. Then they're ready for you to use. But when you use them, you have to take them back apart again. Some people just throw them into the diaper pail like this and separate them in the laundry. I cannot fathom doing that because that just sounds really yucky to me. Because what I do on my way to the diaper pail is I reach in either to the front or to the back. Some have front pockets, by the way, because they say that allows it to agitate out in the wash, and that's not always true. Most of the time I have to unstuff them, with very few exceptions to some brands. But what I do is I pinch the absorbency inside, and I pinch the front of the diaper, and I just pull them apart and drop them in the pail. They get washed, and then I have to fold and restuff all of the diapers. This is why I often prefer covers for younger babies, because it's easier to grab a cover and a pre-fold out of a basket than it is to stuff a bunch of pockets, especially when you consider that newborns can go through like 12 diapers a day. That's a lot of pockets to stuff. So while pockets, I believe, are absolutely amazing, if you don't want to have to fold pocket shells, this can be a huge turnoff to people because it is involved laundry. But again, this is also why I like to use a combination stash. So no one says that you have to cloth diaper full time. You can use them part time, or you can even keep a stash just as an emergency. And no one says you have to pick just one kind of diaper to use. You can use a combination of all-in-ones with some covers and pre-folds and some pocket shells. So what are some of my favorite brands of pockets? Probably my favorite definitely has to be Panalino Bambino's Forever Fit diaper. This fits Holtwood and Juniper really well. Holtwood is huge, so the fact that it fits him really well is impressive. It's lined with athletic wicking jersey. It only has a back pocket, but honestly I prefer the ones that only have the back pocket in most cases, because a lot of times the front pocket just becomes a nuisance for me with the absorbency poking out the front. And if the whole point of the front pocket is for the insert to agitate out and it doesn't agitate out, the front pocket becomes annoying to me. So I like that it does not have a front pocket. It has a panel here of PUL. That's to help prevent wicking moisture from out the front, especially for tummy sleepers. But athletic wicking jersey lined, really good fit. So I really like Panalino Bambino's Forever Fit. Why do I always hold diapers upside down? Now, I love Baby Boo's pocket style diapers too, the Choice All-In 2. She does have the hole in the front, but I did a test once, putting brands up against each other to see whose inserts agitated out the most reliably well. And it's been my experience that I've had the most success with Baby Boo. So while it does have the front pocket, it also has a flap that covers the front pocket. And when I toss these into the diaper pail, 9 times out of 10, the insert inside agitates out. So I really like the Choice All-In 2 by Baby Boo diapers. I also really like Thirsties pocket style diapers too. And they have 2 options. You can get ones that are lined with this Stay Dry fleecy material, or you can get ones that are lined with cotton. So if you want to use the pockets on an older baby and you want them to be aware of wetness and they don't have a wetness sensitivity, you might want to use the one with the cotton lining inside of it, because then your baby will feel the wetness and be kind of more of aware of their bodily functions. So I really like the Thirsties pocket style diapers too. Another brand I really like Happy Behind's pocket style diapers. She has 2 of them, and she has all of these kinds of names for all of her different styles of diapers. And Jelena, you'll have to forgive me because I cannot keep up with all of them. But she has 2 different styles, and both of them are great, and they're more, they're definitely a cheaper option. But I will say too, my starting stash was Alva pocket diapers I ordered directly from the Alva Baby website, and they lasted. They lasted a long time. In fact, I was told to expect them to wear out really fast, and some of my higher end name brand diapers that I tried, they wore out faster than my Alvas. You can get an affordable quality diaper. I've heard some people say in more recent years that the quality of Alva has tanked a little. I don't know, because I don't have any newer Alva to really go off of. So the newest Alva I bought was in 2020, and that one's been perfectly fine too. So it's been my experience as of that recent that Alva pockets are actually my favorite Alva product, because they're all-in-ones. I think are never absorbent enough, and they don't wash well or dry well. And their covers, the inner gusset, they're double gusseted, but the inner gusset is exposed elastic, and that has been an irritant to most of my babies. So I don't like the covers from Alva only because that inner gusset irritates my baby's legs and it makes their skin really angry. But their pockets are perfectly fine. They worked great for me, and they work great for a lot of people, and if that's what you can budget for, go for it. So I know that this is a lot, and I'm sure there's something I'm forgetting, and I'm probably going to be annoyed with myself because I'm going to edit this video and I'm going to be like, I forgot to mention this, and I forgot to mention that. There is a lot, and I hope that this didn't absolutely terrify you. It's a lot of new stuff, but once you get a feel for it, you realize, oh, this ain't bad at all. My recommendation, if you're new to cloth diapering, is definitely, if it's within your budget and your ability, try various brands. Do not go die hard for one brand. Sample different styles, different fabrics based on your need. Join communities where you don't feel like you're being censored, where you feel welcomed, and where you don't see a lot of bullying going on, because there's a lot of groups out there where unfortunately they bully people. You're going to find a lot of conflicting advice, and my advice to you to battle the conflicting advice is always get a second, third, and fourth opinion. When in doubt, I'd say reach out to the manufacturer of the diapers that you use. If you use Panalino Bambino, contact Bree. If you use Diaperite, reach out to Ellen. If you use Happy Behinds, talk to Jelena. You know, if you use Thirsties, contact, oh my gosh, the Thirsties Groupies page is a wonderful page for help, and it's a very edifying group. That's a really safe group to be a part of. And reach out to the Thirsties care team. They are phenomenal with helping people, you know, for anything, for how to wash, how to use, you know, fit checks, concerns, where to start. And understand too, you can start off with a small stash and use it part-time to see if it's even something that you like. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I'm hoping to be on top of posting some more helpful videos this year, Lord willing. If you use cloth diapers, Pop in the comments below, what are your favorite styles and what works for you? And why do you like or not like certain styles? Is there something I said that you agree with or maybe disagree with? I'd like to hear it, because that kind of diversity of feedback is what makes the cloth community grow. And I'm not a final authority on anything. I just share my experience and what I've learned with all of you to try to help you so that you can get jump started and going and learn for yourself too. And if you have any questions or any concerns, feel free to leave a comment below, or if you want to do so more discreetly, you can always email me at pam@normalizedcloth.com. I would absolutely love to try to help you as best as I can, and if I can't, I know lots of resources who can help you, and I'll try to direct you in the right place to go. The baby's sleeping. I gotta show it to you. Like, look at this, look at this. He's sleeping, baby. You guys have a blessed day. I gotta put all these away.